happiness. I don't give a course yet, I want to say something. Let's put it into on the back of inspiration, not on the course. Happiness can be found only in the present. I mean, a real, substantial happiness, which is your own nature. I can never say it too much, will only be found in the present. And the present is the most untouchable direction. It's present when you cut off with a so-called past, and when this habit to project yourself in the future disappears. This is present. And this question, who am I in reality, is the ultimate trace or movement of the mind, like a final dot to this book of creation. And then one can speak of freedom. I am freed from all my apparent cycles and millions of years of evolution. And this you are now, in this present moment. One realizes it at once. One is thrown back to where he never left prior to the lecture of that book. And now from here, life means expression of this beingness. Let it flow. Any shape it takes, it's no more your choice. The one who was choosing is left with the book. Now you are thrown prior to the book of creation. So here it's a question of total surrender. Surrender to this instantaneous realization of what is, which is you. And let the life take care of you. Here, total surrender is needed, otherwise this instantaneous realization, you will make it an experience. It is as simple as that. Only the total surrender is required. And to speak of this life, and it's a way to speak, after realization, it looks like it's just flowing through, what's the word in English? It's not reaction, but well, pure reaction.
Response.
Response, that's it. It's through response according to circumstances. It's a pure response. And that's possible exactly when one lives the present, because then is full stress or attention will not wash him away. No, it's full stress and attention will no more be there, will be no more there. And so it cannot be washed away by what is presented to him or her. Circumstances very traditionally are described as waves, and you are the ocean. Let it be waves or not, you are always the ocean.
Can I ask something between when you say life takes care of you, takes care of you, there is a subtle thing between fatality and surrender.
Yes, sure. I try to tell. So first of all, one has to really realize what I mean by life. You know, what we call generally life is a personal life. And personal life is seen by somebody. So it's a reduced vision of what I call life. It's like my experience once with attachment. I suddenly saw, I was troubled with attachment, and I thought this veils my being. And I suddenly saw that attachment doesn't exist. It's just a reduced vision, a reduced translation of the mind for love. In the same way, personal life doesn't exist. It belongs to the illusion we have. It belongs to somebody who takes himself for guaranteed to be real. It's a reduced vision of what I call life. And what's life? This cannot be understood. It just spontaneously flows from beingness. Now, to say, oh, I will not care, I don't take any responsibility because life takes care of me. It's a total illusory trap when it is said by somebody. It is as bullshit as the one who feels I'm responsible, I am the doer, and I do my life and I control everything. It is as illusory. So this is duality. This is what we call the magic of duplicity, of duality, which makes everything looks like real. So here, you see that. So now it's not enough to see that, because the seeing cannot go to any other corner. Or it will go to fatality, or it will go to responsibility. So here you are obliged to make half step prior to this where it rises, in order to make disappear this feeling which looks real. I am somebody. So who, and just question yourself with me, who is the one who has got this understanding or experience? Who is it? And for that, you have to make half step prior to this movement. Or, if you can hear directly, just remain where you are already, without hooking your experience of this so-called life. Remain here, and here is the surrender. Remain here, whatever circumstances appear, and you will see, oh, life, that it's not yours, you cannot understand what it is, but life takes care of you. Means beingness in action. It's the same. It's direct. Clear?
Yeah.
Then honor your clarity, which is not in mind, which is where you are. Stay here, surrender totally, once for all. Because this, you will have to, any day, any moment, surrender once for all. Why to delay? It will always come to this. Why to delay? This is suffering, delay. This is putting you into the future. This doesn't allow you to be happy. Where you are means, as I started, happiness is found only in the present. And don't fall into the fascination of worries. And of conclusion of your experiences. Freedom can be said is a deshypnotism. Simply. You are deshypnotized by the apparent reality of all your questions or all your answers. The direct flow of life, and now you understood what I mean by the word life. The direct flow of life, one can never think in advance how it will be. This is part of the unexpectation of the present, the beauty of the present. And it makes one sometimes very quiet and sometimes much more active. It's a total surprise. You are never lost. Never forget that it looks like. So, unstrength, de-strength in English. No, don't give strength means? No. and we can weaken this habit. How? In using this apparent pill, medicine, drop it. Drop it. And then you will feel you have never been somewhere else than in yourself. It's just movements. And you don't need movements will be there. You don't need to identify with them, that's all. It weakens the identification, I should say. Better than to say it weakens the movements, because movements may still be there till this body dies. It weakens the identification to it. So what's going on now? Tell. You love yourself. Where do you rest?
When you ask where I'm resting, then immediately my mind gets active and tries to find an explanation.
Mm-hmm. So I trouble you. I will trouble you till one day you will say, oh, she's really, what she's doing? She's trouble my silence. Then I will be very happy. But I have to make it firm, no? In troubling. You see, there was in Provence, our first day was full of people with many knowledge and questions, very interesting, isn't it? They never came back, I tell you. But I got a report of someone who rests in oneself. Yet, the second day she told me, I was so pissed off with these bloody intellectual French people. And I say, you're right, but really, why you have been troubled? Why? It shows you are not firmly established in yourself. Because then what? Everybody has the right to be as he chose. The thing is, one just stays in oneself. Let it be anything happening. So like that. I would love to make you see, and you see it by yourself, how lucky each one of us here is to have got even only once this thought, I want to be freed from this illusion, I want to be freed from this weight of evolution which brings me just here, sitting this way, hearing what we hear. Because this thought makes you free if you know its total value. If you give honor to this if you give honor to it may not come back so soon. We never know. It comes out of the blue. It goes out of the blue. So don't miss it. And this thought is not to put you in the future. This thought itself brings the realization of the present. So just do it. When it will come back, it will always show you it's just now only. Otherwise, it will be part of the myriads of thoughts which crosses you. So this specialist of self-realization tells you this one, bring it out of this thread of millions of years which is called time and space. This thought, pick it up and stay here. Plunge with its direction and don't come back to time and space. It's not necessary to have a life. Live from beingness. Don't live from existence. Don't live from personal life. Live from beingness. This you can hear only in satsang. All the world will suggest you something else to not allow you to realize this. So by chance we are in satsang. So let's honor it and do it now. Means here, keep quiet, where your being is already, without giving the slightest importance, reality to whatever questions or whatever answers come to you. It's as simple than that.
I have a question here. So, now my mind is busy, and I know when I ask you something, it seems to depend. It seems to depend on something to become quiet.
I'm not somebody. So if you ask the same question to me, which is in you, actually you ask this to the self, to the real self, in order that it answers directly, isn't it? It's not to me. You ask this to the freedom which I may symbolize. You ask the question to what's real, isn't it? Yeah?
Yeah, but when the mind...
Wait, I just come back. To what's real. And so you may get a direct answer. In fact, you can go more directly. Ask this question to yourself. It's the same. To yourself. And then you get directly the answer. Okay. Now, tell again.
So, but when I'm in this circle, when the mind is going in this circle, it doesn't find...
He forgot
it doesn't find the point where it has to
go
direct the question.
But did you hear ever, maybe it will be the first time, when this apparent web is there, drop it. Drop it at once. We don't care for past. So this is an illusory trouble. So drop it at once. Show me how you do. Dropping is not making effort. In any corner, don't make effort. Where are you rested?
I think I still make effort.
Yes. Yes, you still make effort because I feel you think it's through the answer to your honest question that you will realize. It's not through answer. It's in dropping the question. Because this question is illusion itself. Do you follow?
Yeah.
So that is dropping. Dropping the apparent importance of the question. So where are you now? Do you feel you are still in the web?
No.
Okay. Then what's missing?
It's very thin.
Thin what?
It's somehow very easy to fall back in the web.
Doesn't matter, it's an illusion. So whenever it comes, let it look like 100 times a day, maybe even more. Doesn't matter, just drop it. It doesn't take time, in 2-3 days time, this habit, I tell you, this is really a fact. In 2-3 days time, this habit will lose its speed and strength. Because then it shows there is still a room of some corner is there where one can land. So good to see, good to acknowledge and drop. Here the Zen saying is beautiful and to say is so truthful. When you see the Buddha, kill him. Means in the end, when one really gets quiet, even the Buddha is too much. It's a trouble. Mass. Finish. I want to be left alone. Enough. And then you can embrace Buddhas and Gopas, I don't know whatever is in the creation. You can embrace everything. Thank you very much.